Nick,
Dave.
what are we doing today? I got a crazy looking Mizuno wedge in my hand.
Seems like you already know what we're going to do, Dave.
Let's talk about these things.
Wow. It's really surprised for you, isn't it? Yes, you're holding Mizuno's brand new wedge. I have the ES21. What do you have?
I have the ES21.
Holy, wow, look at that. So you've got the narrower sole. I have a wide sole version. Yours has a little less bounce, but it still has a ton on there anyway because that's what people need. And the sole's still wide enough where it's effectively the same. What's different though, this is a two-piece construction wedge. It still has some forged HD 1025 carbon steel on here, plus some boron, makes it feel pretty good. But it is interesting how these are designed. A ton of tech in the back of it, and specifically you can look at the top of the, let's see, above the sole, not quite the leading edge, but the back of the club, there's a lot of weight really high and back on the actual wedge itself, and towards the toe.
Even on this one, the toe on profile just looks a lot thicker than what a normal wedge does.
You got it. So I'm having a hard time trying to describe that one. You got to see this one in person. There's just a very wide, thick top line to it. So what that's doing is moving the CG, the center of gravity, up. If you followed us along on what that means, on full shots, it's going to effectively be the same as striking the ball very low on the face, which should give you a little bit of gearing, some lower shots with a ton of backspin. Around the greens, hitting little chip shots, there isn't much gearing effect that's even going on.
Right.
So what's far more important there is the quality of the strike. That's why hitting it low on the face on a wedge is the most important thing to do around the greens. The CG being really high isn't very useful around the greens that way. But on full shots, these should spin a ton, and they look awesome. It's got a black KBS high rev shaft in there, which I think for wedges is probably the best one going right now. They look really nice. They do look a little bit different. It's almost got a little high toe look and feel in the wide sole that I have, but I think these look awesome.
Mine's got a BMW logo. Does yours have a BMW logo?
No, mine isn't blue and silver or whatever that should be for BMW. So no, I just have the CG mark on there.
It's the CG marker, yes. For those of you watching at home that might be with Mizuno or possibly in the room, it's the CG marker on the back side of the wedge.
Unless you're Sabrina, then you shank. So you want to hit this one?
Let's do it.
Okay, 56 degree. I think that one's 10 degrees of bounce.
Okay.
Super cool look with the black, but it's also not real shiny on the grooves in the scoring area.
I do like how slick that looks.
Yep. I can't honestly say how well this is gonna wear, but it definitely looks like one that's gonna stand up to some wear and tear bunker shots. So you hit that 86 yards. Take a look at how much that's got for some spin. Little tiny push draw. I've got this flag at 90. So that one looked pretty good. Because they're new, they're going to spin more than usual typically anyway. But that 11, one at 11,000 RPMs of backspin, it's a really nice shot.
Thanks. You never say that. I appreciate it.
No, that was good. That was good for you. Nice shot.
That's more like it.
For a full shot, anything over 10,000 is looking pretty good. So what'd you think of the look and the feel of that when you put it in?
Really do love the look. It's, you know, over the years, a couple companies have come out with various versions of, you know, black colored shafts and things like that. I do love the way that looks. I know that part of it's to help reduce the glare. I also think it's just a very cool flow into the golf club. Makes it look like it's almost just one piece of metal. So aesthetically looks great. You know, we've talked a little bit about the kind of I don't want to say the oddness, but just how a little bit different this is from a traditional wedge design. When I set it down, though, you don't see any of that. So as soon as you set it down, it's you know, looks like a traditional wedge. Doesn't feel like it's got all this tech to it, but it does. So.
All the tech's in the back, yeah. Now for an experiment, just to prove the point that we usually do if golf balls matter, go ahead and hit this one. This is just the.
So you give me. Is this an exploding one?
Yes, that would be a better trick, but no. So that one has a lot more dimples. Should spin a lot more. Except it's a little harder cover. This is just a more durable golf ball. So
that was definitely rockier.
That one went higher, so there's usually a little less friction in that regard.
Yep.
Which is the start of telling you that the spin rate went down. So the first one you hit at 11,000 RPMs. We hit one of these a little bit earlier at just over 5,500. Let's check out what this one's at, and then I'll get you back into the tour player ball again. So there's one that's got a backspin of 48.91. So if you want to hit your wedge a lot farther, and this is typically where really good golf balls come into play anyway. Buy those premium golf balls, man. Around the greens, you have so much more spin that you can
like you said,
use to your advantage.
The golf ball matters, and that is absolutely proof in the pudding. I mean, that's a boatload of backspin difference.
Yeah, it's not quite, it's a little more than double, not quite 3 times as much backspin, but imagine that shot when you're 50 yards around the green or hitting a 30-yard pitch shot and you really want to try to stop the ball quickly.
Right.
use that premium ball. Okay, you ready for the wide sole?
Yeah. Let's
So
try
this is for anybody who is maybe struggling even more with the wedges.
Okay.
Just because there's some more forgiveness in your ability to hit behind the ball and still get a decent result.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods was recently on. I know it's not a Mizuno plug that way, but I saw him doing an interview talking about how he feels players should use their wedges, and he said all amateurs should be using more bounce than what they have right now.
Yeah.
It's one of the smartest things I've heard him say.
Absolutely.
He said a lot of smart things, but that one was really good. To the point where getting up way past 14 degrees of bounce is quite all right, because it just makes your shots that much easier around the green. You
right.
get further behind the ball and still get a decent result that way.
So this one, you can definitely see the wide sole, again, when you look at the back of it, but when it's in its playing position, you're not looking at the back, and just looks like a great looking wedge.
Yeah, both these look really similar putting them down. It's definitely more height of the club face itself and a little bit more towards the toe. I wouldn't say it's like the Bigfoot or the other wedges that have really had an extremely high toe, but it's trending like that. Nice shot there, 83 yards. Feel like that was much different when you hit the shot? I wouldn't expect you to.
No, not a ton.
Much.
It was just a tiny bit to the heel.
Yeah, there's your backspin back up at 1166 again. So
yep.
Similar spin. They're brand new wedges. After you hit about 100 shots with these, you'll see that go down 1,000 RPMs or so, maybe more. But for right now, these are ripping the cover off the ball. Even on this really extreme toe hit you had over here, it was still pretty good.
Yeah, that one was a slight, very, very slight heel hit.
Okay.
Extremely slight.
So the center of gravity on these is the big story, I think. It's raised upward and slightly more towards the toe. Both of those would help you hit really high spin shots around with the full swing. Like I said before, it's not going to help you a ton around the greens. Add more spin to it. That's just the sharpness of the grooves and how well they hit the shot and the amount of friction you have with the golf ball you've got. Those are the big ones on just the tiny shots. But overall, I think these are awesome. They do look really good. So if you're looking for some new wedges, player or not, I think these are, I don't know, you tell me. These feel like?
This is absolutely one that you should consider putting in the bag, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for just the wedges today. Not a whole lot of story in there. Lambkin grips, high rev shafts, cool black heads. You will definitely look the part with this thing.
Amen.
So best way to get fit for wedges is figure out whether or not you need this high rev 2.0 and what flex shafts you're going to need and exactly which club head and bounce you're going to need. Find a local Golf Tech coach near you.